A blessing is a gift bestowed by God to bring forth happiness. Ever grateful belly practitioners humbly attempt to bring forward the special moments from the life journey of our beloved spiritual master, Tarneiv Ji, along with personal experiences from devout practitioners to share the light with seekers of all faiths from all corners of the world. It was in the year 1973, in New Delhi, India, a lady saint, Nirmal Behenji, while visiting a young pregnant mother, told her that she was carrying a very special child whose fragrance would spread far and wide. And after a few months, the mother gave birth to Tarneiv Ji. While Tarneiv Ji laughs this off, belly practitioners around the world attest to the fact that they witness miracles and magical moments in their own lives.
I'm Taranji's sister. I don't know how I was chosen to be his sister. As a child, how I remember him. Very naughty as you can think. Very, very bright, shining eyes. As he was growing up and he was coming to his teens, it was very evident that he was very different from a normal teenager. He started meditating, I think he was 16, 17 years of age. And meditation used to be like long hours at a stretch. Then he used to go to places like Haridwar, Rishikesh, midnight travel, going to Haridwar early morning, attending the prayer there, and then just coming back. We grew up, and he was getting more into the meditation and chanting practices.
हो फूलों में सारे रंग तुमने तो भरे जागी ऐसी उमंग कि मन अब ना भरे.
Bees of miracle. If you want the miraculous to happen in your life, if you want it a frequent visitor in your life, you want miracles to come and entertain you, create this nectar of gratefulness in your heart here. Daily and daily, daily and daily. Small things that touch you, that you can feel. Wake up with this gratefulness. Sleep with this gratefulness. Just feel it inside. And the life would fill you with fragrant roses of peace and joy.
I met Taranji way back in 1994. He was still in college at that time. I remember in my very first meeting, he told me about the possibilities of my career, about my future, and he was telling me about how it will turn out, how it will unfold. And I was kind of really surprised and in complete disbelief, because what he was saying was at that time made no sense. I was a struggling photographer at that time. I was starting my career, and what he was telling me were like a huge thing for any photographer, for any person. And he said, of course, your karma will be there. You will have to work hard, but I can guide you. And he started guiding me, and that is how the lifetime guidance started for me. Now, when I look at my career after so many years, when I look back, I just feel that, on the very first meeting, the way he was explaining me things, it was like as if he was writing my future himself. He knew what is going to happen. And everything is unfolded exactly the way he said, he mentioned, exactly like that.
No matter what kind of profession you have, if you have an artist, if you are a painter, if you are a contractor, if you are a shopkeeper, whatever you are, if you want to have any excellence in any field in this life, worldly life, the only thing between your dreams and the realization is the discipline. And if you can have a discipline out of love, then it becomes a beautiful journey.
I was just so strongly drawn to him that I would visit his parents' home every single day to meet him. And he was always welcoming me. He gave me a lot of encouragement, love, compassion, kindness, goodness, a love of a kind which is inexplainable. He touched me in spirit. In Mysore, I was very, very unwell and my lower back was bothering me. And imagine for a guy who's taken a sabbatical, getting a chance back into a really big project. But the director had forewarned me that it needs a lot of horse riding, it needs a lot of action. And in that state of worry, I met him and he says, "Acha Rahul," and his face didn't show any disconcernment of any kind, and he just told me to turn around, and I don't know what happened. He didn't touch me or anything, and he just told me, "Sab theek hai Rahul." And the day went by, and I woke up the next morning, and I thought that the pain I feel is not there. Then I tried to touch my toes for the first time in a couple of months, and I could do it without any pain, and that was that. So when he says "theek hai," means theek hai, because the universe has to just go with the word of the Lord and Master, and that is it for me.
This was few weeks back when my family and I were going to meet Tarneiv Ji. Tarneiv Ji asked me to think of a color. As I was thinking, he also asked Sonu and me to start chanting, and we both started chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And as we were chanting, all of a sudden there was a beautiful piece of cloth that appeared in his hands, and that was something miracle that had happened. And as I held the scarf, I could not believe my hands, I could not believe my eyes. The color, the shine, the texture of that piece of cloth was so beautiful. It did not seem to be from this world, and it was not from this world. It was heavenly.
2019 October, I went to Toronto just to meet him. As we were walking to the door, he said, Haji, he said, before, and then back in Mysore, when you do the chanting, you must do chanting 108 times with the Japamala. And he also made a mention that I must buy Chand ka Japamala, that is sandalwood Japamala. So as I was about to leave, he said, Haji, Anand, chant for 3 times. So I started chanting, and he was standing just in front of me, we were face to face. He had closed both the hands as I was chanting, and then as I finished, he opened his palm only to give me Chant ka Japamala. It was in his hands.
Oh my God, what's happening? And we were like, is all this actually possible? Are we really seeing it with our own eyes? It was such a blessing to see all this happening in front of us. He's so connected to the universe that whatever he says, the universe follows. Anything that you want, anything that we desire, and we just ask and he gives. That's how he is.
Mind is important to create things. I'm not against mind at all. But to seek happiness in the realm of mind is not wise at all. We are asking for something which this mind is not even capable of giving.
Life with Tarneiv Uncle is this continuous series of miracles. With him, nothing is insignificant, and all of life just becomes so meaningful. So now when I see Tarneiv Uncle, I greet him, and then I go to the side. And he doesn't say a word. And then suddenly he asks, "Is there someone who does art here?" And my mom points to me, and he calls me over. And I sit, and straight away he says, "You know you have art in you. You must do something in art." And that was the thing that I'd wanted. I couldn't even believe it. How does he know my heart? He knows my heart. And that was incredible.
20 years back, my friend Tarun gave me the most precious gift of my life. That of introducing me to Taranji. And 20 years later, my life is completely transformed. I still remember very distinctly, I was with my father in the ICU, and I knew he was not going to live very long. The doctors were trying to restore him. I was sitting there, holding his hand. They were trying to revive him, but I could see that he wasn't going to survive. And seconds and minutes later, he was gone. I got up from his bed and walked out, and the same moment the phone rings, and Hemant tells me that Taranji asked him to call me and check. And obviously, well, a major episode had happened in my life, and all he said was he wants you to know that he's with you.
A person had joined my office. So he shared that he is having antidepressants for the last 1 year. और उसको ब्रेन जैप्स होते हैं, और ब्रेन जैप्स जब होते हैं तो वो खड़ा भी नहीं हो पाता, वो गिर जाता है. उसका छोटा सा बच्चा है, वो उसको गोदी में भी नहीं लेता है, इसीलिए कि उसे लगता है कि वो गिर जाएगा. एक दिन बता रहा था पार्क में गिर गया. So again I shared this with Tarneiv Ji. So he said he'll be fine, don't worry. So I suggested him to why don't you try the जैसे कि Zoom पे आजकल meditations हो रही हैं, live meditation with Tarneiv Ji. So उसने वो meditation session attend किया, and केवल एक session से उसको brain zaps बंद हो गए. He has been now regularly attending, and he is absolutely fine, and he's ready to leave his medicine. He feels so light and energetic. He says, I'm completely a new person.
On one morning in Bangalore, around 7:15 a.m., he rushed out of his room and he said, let's go. Rahul and I sat in the car. Taranji was driving, and this time he took a different route, not the one we usually take. He said, is paas se jate hain. So we are like, okay. And when we were on that road, we saw that one lady on a scooter toppled over a divider and fell down. People rushed for her help, but there was nobody to take her to the hospital. So Taranji said, let's take her to the hospital. So we helped the lady in the car, and he drove her to the hospital. During the drive, he was trying to calm her down, talking to her, and we dropped her to the hospital. Her husband received her, they thanked us, and we moved on. Just then I realized that that lady must have called God for her help, and God himself was there to help her. He always helps everyone in need, whether you know him or don't know him. He's always there for you.
One night, after a series of unpleasant events, instead of going home, I went to a market near my house, and on the way there, I sent him a message saying, where do I go now? His reply came right away. He said, to your palms. A little while later, by the time I was ready to go home, it was past midnight on a weekday, no cars, no people, nothing in sight. But still, I wasn't scared because I knew I had my palms and my chant, and all I had to do was keep him in my heart and make my way home. The moment I took my first step on the main road, a stray dog came running next to me and started walking with me. But then this auto rickshaw started driving in my direction, slowing down and beeping at me. And I remember thinking to myself that it's great that I have the company of this dog and all, but nothing can save me from the dangers of Delhi. And just then, the dog ran onto the street and started barking non-stop until, of course, the auto rickshaw drove away. Then, the rest of the journey, the dog would just walk ahead of me, pause, turn around, wait for me to catch up, and keep going just like this until we reached the gate of my house. And that night, I didn't sleep at all because I really believed that things were starting to change, and I had no reason to ever feel alone again because I wasn't. Whatever we need, whenever we need it, He is always there.
Be wise. Wisdom is to practice. Once you are practicing, then the universe unfolds its mysteries. Then there is a living. Then you have a purpose. Then you have a calling in life. And once you are inspired, once you are attracted to the divine inside, once you are attracted to the divinity inside, then the mystery unfolds.
2017, that was a year. He was in Bangalore and he was having his evening stroll, and it was drizzling. While he was taking a stroll, he heard some kind of hissing sound, and he thought that maybe there was air leak in the tire or something. So he just bent down just to realize that he was bitten by something, and that turned out to be a snake. Not just a simple snake, it was a deadly viper. We reached the hospital. He was in the ICU for continuous, I think, more than 16, 17 hours. And here he was in the ICU, chanting the melody. It seemed as if, that snake came to channel that melody through him. And today we all chant that divine melody.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Attention is God, is godliness in action. Let your attention be unalloyed, untouched by anything. You can take it deeper. Whatever kind of activity you are in, attention is the basic prerequisite. If you can hone it, sharpen it, let it be untouched.
I've known Tarneiv Ji now for about 13 years or so, and I have changed so much in that time. My life has changed so much. I remember so fondly the moments we would share when he lived in the Los Angeles area. I got to see him almost every day back then, and every day he would sit with me in the evening and he would teach me the chant, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Those memories are some of the most beautiful and precious moments of my entire life. When I was sitting in front of him learning this chant, at the time I didn't fully understand how deep that chant would go in my life and how it would serve me. I was walking across the street in Los Angeles to go to my car, and I had crossed halfway and I was waiting at the median to cross the rest of the way. And a car came and slammed into me going about 30 miles an hour. I hit the hood of the car and then I fell onto the asphalt. And as I lay there, I didn't know if I would live or die. I didn't know what type of injuries my body had sustained. But immediately, without my having to think about it, this chant, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, just started coming into my head. And I heard it over and over and over, just like Tarneiv Ji had taught me. I have come to realize that what happened was challenging, but it was also a blessing, because it taught me how deep this chant and my practice has gone in my life. That no matter what's happening, whether it's good or bad, it is always there with me, just the same way Tarneiv Ji is always there with me.
हो फूलों में सारे रंग तुमने तो भरे.
My real journey started when I was in Canada last year for a couple of months and was staying with him. That time I was very unsure about myself and I used to ask these questions to myself कि कैसे career का करूँगी and कैसे what will I do, how will I do it, and all those general questions that you keep on thinking about yourself and ask yourself. तो तब मामा जी ने मुझे एक डायरेक्शन दी है that I'm currently working towards, and I'm very very grateful that he's shown me a path that I have to take it forward and I have to work hard for. जब आपके आसपास लोग इतने talented होते हैं and some people have their passion decided कि हाँ यही करना है वो करना है, trust me, that is the time when you feel very very low about yourself कि अगर सब कुछ ना कुछ कर रहे हैं तो what will you do. तो तब मामा जी ने मुझे संभाला है and he's shown me a way and he's completely transformed me as a person. I'm very very confident now, I'm very happy now, I'm very open to people now, and this transformation is very personal and I can feel it, people around me can feel it.
One of the days he just called me and my husband to meet him at his house, and we both were very excited. We went and he gifted us this beautiful melody, the divine chant, and he said, like, go home and just add it into your daily routine, into your daily lives, and then your lives would be so much peaceful and joyful. This divine melody transformed me so much, that added so much grace into my life. I have really become so peaceful, joyful, compassionate, loving. This is all his blessings.
We have not been presented the divine in such a way that there is an aspiration to experience it. We have been presented the divine in a way which mongers fear, that one has to relinquish, one has to abandon everything. When the divine is eternal, when the divine is everywhere, what can you leave? The ideas have to be relinquished.
He's a no barrier person. What I really love about him, he's absolutely without barriers. There is no religion. So sometimes he looks like Guru Nanak, the great poet, the kind-hearted Guru. On the other day, he looks like Lord Krishna. with his playful ways and childlike habits. Sometimes he reminds me of Jesus, who took all the pain of all the people around him and just lived for them. He is a combination of so many things, and you see all the shades in him.
शाम बिना ये बदरा आज शाम 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 आज शाम सपने में देखे आज शाम सपने में देखे भर आयो नैना ढूरक गयो कजरा भर आयो नैना ढूरक गयो कजरा शाम बिना ये बदरा.
Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. Where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. It is in dying to self that we are born to eternal life. It's all thy grace.
The Master's grace.
We owe it all to you. The smiles on our face, the nectar that we taste at the feel of the sacred space where you wait for us with the warmest embrace. We owe it all to you, the good, the bad, and the great. It's all thy grace.
Meditation is very simple. When we relinquish all the ideas, not by force, otherwise one thought comes, you are fighting with it, feeling comes, you are fighting with it. That would be a very arduous and very painstaking process. The only requisite or condition to experience this is a yearning heart, an earnestness that you really want it, that you have experienced life in such a way that you don't want any more suffering in your life. Enough of it.
इस इश्क दी छल्ली विच मोर बोलैंदा सानू किबला ते काबा सोना यार दिसैंदा सानू किबला ते काबा सोना यार दिसैंदा तेरे इश्क में जो भी डूब गया उसे दुनिया की लहरों से डरना क्या जैसे दरिया का पानी जीवन दे उस दरिया की लहरों से डरना क्या.
अभी लास्ट मंथ कोविड हुआ. मेरी फैमिली में सभी को कोविड हो गया था. मुझको, मेरी वाइफ को, मेरे बेटे को, मेरे ब्रदर को, मम्मी पापा सभी को कोविड हो गया था. घर में सभी परेशान थे. अचानक मम्मी की तबीयत बहुत ज़्यादा ख़राब हो गई. डॉक्टर ने बोला हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट करा दीजिए. अब हॉस्पिटल मिल नहीं रहे थे, समझ में नहीं आ रहा क्या हुआ क्या नहीं. मैं डॉक्टर से बात की. डॉक्टर कहता है काफ़ी क्रिटिकल सिचुएशन है मम्मी की. रोज हॉस्पिटल से मम्मी के फ़ोन आते थे कि मेरे को यहाँ से निकाल। जो भी पेशेंट आता है वो बच नहीं पाता था, जो भी पेशेंट आता है वो बच नहीं पाता था। हम सोच के घबराते थे, क्या होगा अब, क्या होगा अब, क्या होगा। कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा था। बस जैसे ही भैया का पता चला कि भैया ने मैसेज किया, मेरे फ़ोन पे मैसेज आया कि आई एम विद यू, पता नहीं तब से क्या मिरेकल हुआ है, कैसे सब कुछ चीज़ें ठीक होने लगी हैं, कुछ नहीं समझ में आया।
शुक्र मेरे भगवन।
मेरे को 2 महीने पहले कोविड हुआ था। मैं बहुत बीमार थी, मेरे बहुत ज़्यादा इन्फेक्शन हो गया था। बच्चों ने मेरे को हॉस्पिटल में एडमिट कराया। मैं आईसीयू में थी उस टाइम। आईसीयू की इतनी ज़्यादा सिचुएशन बहुत ख़राब थी क्योंकि मैं बहुत ज़्यादा डर गई थी। फिर मेरे को भैया से याद आया कि भैया कहते हैं कि भाई पाम फील करो या फिर चेस्ट फील करो, तो फिर मैं वो करने लगी और मेरे को आदित्य ने भैया की फ़ोटो ला कर दी। मैं भैया की फ़ोटो देखकर प्रे करती थी कि भाई भैया मेरे को जल्दी से ठीक करो। फिर मैं धीरे धीरे ठीक होने लगी। मैं बिलीव नहीं कर सकती कि मैं कैसे ठीक हो गई, और ये मेरे लिए कोई चमत्कार से कम नहीं था।
तो मैं हमेशा ये चीज़ अपने दिमाग में रखता हूँ कि भैया ने एक बात बोली है, मेरे को ऐसा लगता है कि भैया मेरे साथ ही है एंड एवरीथिंग इज टेकन केयर ऑफ।
The source of all this so-called happiness has always been inside, has never left us, and still is just within. There have been echoes of so-called outside, but those are simply echoes that are outside. The real music is always inside. And once we have heard this music inside, the life is transformed.
जय जय जाओ तहाँ तेरी सेवा, तुध ज्यों ठाकुर और न देवा। जय जय जाओ तहाँ तेरी सेवा, तुध ज्यों ठाकुर और न देवा, और न देवा।
तुमसे है जोड़े, तुमसे है जोड़े सच्ची प्रीत हमने मेरे गुरु जी। तुमसे है जोड़े औरों से तोड़े सच्ची प्रीत हमने मेरे गुरु जी।
ਤਰਨੇਵ ਜੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਲੇਸਿੰਗਸ ਸਾਡੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਤੇ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜੋਇਸ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟਿਸਿਸ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਹੋਈਆਂ ਨੇ, ਔਰ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਚੈਂਟ। ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਚੈਂਟ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨੀਆਂ ਉਸੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਖਤਮ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਨੇ ਆ। ਸਾਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਲੰਬੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਜਾਂ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੰਮ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਬਣਨਗੇ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਚੈਂਟ ਕਰੋ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪਣੀ ਪਰੇਸ਼ਾਨੀ ਦੱਸੋ ਔਰ ਤੁਹਾਡੀਆਂ ਹਰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦਾ ਹੱਲ ਨਿਕਲੇਗਾ। ਸਮਟਾਈਮਸ ਵੀ ਥਿੰਕ ਇਟਸ the end of the road, ਹੁਣ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਖਤਮ ਹੈ, but actually it's the beginning.
I know Tarneiv Ji since my childhood. 2018, I would say September, Mummy went for her regular mammogram exam, and we got a call from our family doctor that we need to come in and discuss the reports. So we did, and She said she found a lump. So I texted Tarneiv Ji, told him what happened, what's going on with mummy, and he said, I'm with you. और उनका यही कहना, I am with you. Half worries तुम्हारी चली जाती हैं. I'm with you, and don't worry, keep chanting. We went to the specialist after, I would say, 2 months or so, क्योंकि तब की date मिली, and she did her tests again. She examined her, and she didn't find anything. She said, I don't see a lump, I don't feel anything. And we just looked at each other, me and my husband, and like, what just happened? I just want to say thank you so much for everything. Thank you for protecting us, taking care of us, being there for us. We'll be grateful to you always.
I am associated with Tarneiv Ji from past 30 years. I have full faith on him and divine chanting as channelized by him. Over the years, my faith on him has gone stronger and deeper. I find myself to be the luckiest one to have a friend like him.
Right then, I hear an explosion and my car started skidding completely out of control. I couldn't stop, I couldn't brake. My car is stopped at full stop, pull over on the side, and I come out of the car to see what happened. I see the rear tire is completely gone, so totally. And I right away called Paji. He picked up the phone. He didn't say anything, but he said, I could feel that he's kind of smiling, and he says, Pushp, you're okay now. All the best, drive safe. It'll be a little long trip back home, but don't worry, you're fine now. I didn't even have to say anything that what happened to my car, but he knew it. This is another miracle happened in my life where I was saved, completely saved, and no accident. I don't know what to say this. I can't even speak right now, remembering that incident.
Tarneiv Ji stayed with us in our house in San Francisco as well as in Virginia for almost 4 or 5 years. I didn't have a very good understanding of spirituality at that time when I met him, but I knew I could trust him. I could trust him with everything. When he was staying with us, he was like an integral part of our family, and we took many vacations together and a lot of road trips. I also remember that he was very intense at that time. There was a managing director of a major software company, and he was very fond of Tarneiv Ji. This executive must have seen something special in this 25-year-old young man, some words of wisdom or his perception. This executive invited his own boss to come to meet Tarneiv Ji at our house in Virginia. And the executive came in his own private jet just to meet Tarneiv Ji for half an hour. You had cooked dinner,
I
lunch?
did. So मैंने खाना बना के I put it on the table, and then I was going to leave and go. So Tarneiv Ji insisted कि I also come and sit with them at the table. And I thought कितनी दूर से इतने कम time के लिए कोई आया है Tarneiv Ji से मिलने के लिए. So then I just wanted to leave them alone. But Tarneiv Ji just said, nahi, he wanted me to sit and have lunch, with them, which I did. And he also praised my cooking in front of this gentleman, and just felt very humbled. I remember one of the first times when he fasted. He was with us in San Francisco, where he fasted for days. We used to be very worried about him, कितने दिनों से खाना नहीं खाया and पानी नहीं पिया. But he used to just do it with so much ease, and he used to always come out of his room smiling and satisfied with what he was doing.
शुक्र मेरे भगवन
I think his presence is just so magical that you feel ki even if you ask for something, even if you think about something, he'll just do it for you without even asking it.
मेरे दाता मेरे दाता.
There is something that he says very often during his sessions, and it has become like a mantra for me. तुलसी भरोसे राम के, निर्भय होके सोए, अनहोनी होनी नहीं, होनी है सो होए. I feel blessed that you are there in our lives, or we have a life where you are there. And when you are there, there is nothing to fear of or to be worried about. You shall take care.
Present is the place where the miraculous life unfolds itself. Thinking that the life would have miraculous turns one day is not wise. The life in this moment is as miraculous as it can be, provided we have those eyes to witness. The eyes of mindfulness, eyes of awareness.
जीवन जैसे मिला हो नया, दर्पण जैसे दिखा